Hey guys, my name is Cidiac and welcome back to another episode of CanalTown here in City Skylines. Well, last episode guys, we built our very own farming industry, the first industry within the region, and we pretty much got the bare bones of it all set up. We got a bunch of fields now creating a bunch of crops. We have a couple of pastures creating animal products. The only thing that we don't have in this new area is any flour mills to create flour, and then a really good way to kind of import and export the goods that we're now creating. So that's what we're going to get set up in this episode, guys, as we continue to expand CanalTown and the city of New Amsterdam. Things are going pretty damn well, if you ask me. But we are back, and this is what we got done last episode. I really like how we did it. We kind of integrated within the farming land that you can kind of currently see right now. And use the dirt roads, and it really feels like, you know, from a distance as well, that it is actual farming area. I really do like it. So today then, we're going to talk about the imports and exports, and also the ability to kind of get the goods to turned into a high value item, which would be for us in the farming industry, flour. Now, I've given it a lot of thought. I was going to try and utilize this train line here and do something around this side, but I feel like it's just too cramped and too crowded. My other plan was to extend it this way and then bring it around the back, but it starts to go uphill a little bit. Not too much, but it just feels like it's long-winded for the area. Then I thought, we've got a train line here. What's going on, boys? What's going on? I could just create a connection there, make it kind of follow down, and then build the flour production section just here with an export area. That is the most logical thing for us to kind of do. I don't know why I was trying to overcomplicate it. So we got the spine road running in, and we're going to kind of create another spine road to a certain extent running this way as well. So this road here is the 4-lane style road. It is the smaller variation of it, which will be this one, right? Is it this one? Yeah, there is like a fatter, chunkier version, as you can see there, but I like the thinness that we get coming from this. So I'm going to extend this out by 30, and then we're going to try and get it to probably end just here, because I want to try and create something for an export area. So if I get this to run like this, right, and if I delete this back, and then we'll use the connection tool, because I'm trying to kind of almost semi-follow the tree line in some areas. And we'll have to reconfigure how the farming area land looks. But that is what I'm trying to get up to right now. So I'm going to do a nice little wiggle just there. Nice and simple. And then we'll use some dirt roads. So we go rural. And a nice little dirt road coming off. We'll say... Can I create a connection there? Will it not let me? Will your boy have to anarchy a connection in right now? There we go. And then if I can possibly wiggle a little one there, because I'm trying to, like I've done over here, follow the land and the space. So I'm going to bring this up so far. And then we'll bring you in to kind of then go round. So it will end in certain areas, obviously. But it allows me to go on to create this farming area. Now I will have to delete some of this when it comes to now building the train line. Right, I'm liking all these extra wiggles I'm kind of getting out of this. There we go. Try and connect these up. So this is looking like it. This is starting to look like it right now. So we'll come out to that in just a minute, because I've got to build up how I'd want like an exportation area. Now it is bringing 4-lane roads all the way in. So I've got to think about how I can now do this. I could lead into creating a train that comes out, goes down here, and then connects in there. That's not going to be a problem. It's just how I utilize it here, because we're going to have vehicles coming from over here down to export as well. So if I use that kind of road as well, that 4-lane road. Let's say to be honest with you, I don't need to kind of create it in any particular way, shape or form. What I could do is just use a singular road like this. And if I went, for example, and go straight there by a 20, how big is the actual train stop right now? So, not too big. So I could literally drop it there. And then from 10 back to there. And then we're creating... Is that a 10? Yeah. And then we're creating a 5x5. 5x5. And then all we got to do then is bring them to kind of together. So I could create a 3x3. Would that there be a 3x3? Now this is the interesting bit now. This is the interesting bit. If I can run this in a straight line, but obviously I got to upgrade it to a 2-lane road. Right, if I delete that little segment back there and just kind of bring this to about there, and then we'll use that singular file road. Bam, bam. And with the power invested in the move it tool, we're going to create a bend. I don't know how much of a bend I can implement on this because the way that this kind of works, but I could go there we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Take away the harshness on these bends. That all wiggles in like a little bit of a teardrop. We get the lane management set up. So they just kind of filter the way in and back out. No harm done. Literally no harm done. So that will lead out. I know it looks a little bit funky, but I'm going to start placing down all the buildings in just a moment, and it will kind of all come together. I can even add in more additional farming area stuff. But this is how we kind of end the area, because I don't see us adding any more high capacity roads coming in. So I just bring this up. I'm going to follow this down. We're going to try and finish somewhat this area. There we go. You have a connection coming down here. That's just going to end there. That will end there nicely. We'll go to there with that. With this, we can actually have it coming round. And then that's probably as far as I want to take all of this. I've built quite a unique, substantial infrastructure for the train line in a very, very rural area. So what I'm going to do now then is to give us the ability to kind of create this. I want to try and create a V, but I want to do it in a sense that it's going to work perfectly. So if I go from there to there and press tab and flip it on the other side, and is it the pluses? Yeah, if I hold shift and do it, it does it by 10. So if I add that in there, like that, right, and my whole idea, reasoning behind it is, oh, this is some of it is elevated. The whole reason behind it is that that then runs with the train line perfectly. So if I deleted, let's say, there, and then create a little bend just here, this runs quite nice into this area. And then we might be able to get away with it. So I'm hoping I can run that to here. So if I did this and then did that, I should have a node on each of these. So together I can push them up. This one I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we add more of a bend on this one, more of a bend on that one. This crisscrosses just nicely, but I'll try and implement a little bit more on the bend on both. And then that there is all connected. And then this will just do the usual. And we'll bring it in by a 7. Like this. And then we have the most elaborate V-junction you've ever seen in your life. But it's pretty cool though, isn't it? It is pretty cool. So I'll delete this now back to there. And then we'll kind of freehand it going all the way in. So we'll try and somewhat kind of bring this around. We've got to actually turn it into here though, don't we? So I reckon the 35 by 35. That's almost a 90-degree bend. So we'll go with that instead. As it goes in. And what we'll do, we'll kind of paint it down so the fields look like they end with the train line and whatnot. That's kind of how we'll get it to work. So if I run that down to there and then connect to here. And I just got to get the power in, which I cannot. I can use with a wind turbine just there. So for now, we can at least have some imports and exports going on. I know it's a little bit elaborate. I might have to stick a little roundabout on this junction. But there we go. There we go. So we'll come to painting it in just a moment. Have a little bit of a fast forward sesh. So we can actually see them utilising it. So this might be a big issue at some point. No traffic lights. We do have individual roads that allow us to go left, right and centre. But let me set it up in a way that would kind of work out for us. So this is your turning lane. That is that lane straight over. I'll do it like this because I know where the majority of the traffic is going to come from. So that is like that. That is like this. You have this, and then you have... Actually, that can go straight on as well. Turn in there. So I've done them differently in different directions. Just to kind of... Because I know where some of the traffic's going to come from, and it's just to kind of separate it to make this junction flow a little bit easier before I have the need to place down a roundabout. So you see how that vehicle went straight on, and the one coming this way went in this lane. It's just a way to kind of have them all drive down at once. So that kind of works. That does what it needs to do. I can now start implementing some of our kind of flour mill buildings. So I'm not going to have many of these. Just going to have a fair few. He says. So we also have milking parlours as well. That's something that I don't currently have. I only have the animal pastures. So we have the flour mill, we have the cattle shed, and we have the milking parlour, cattle shed, yes, and then we have the slaughterhouse, which is a little bit more ferocious. But they all come from the crops. They work the same as how the animal pastures work, and we're already producing animal products. So I only really want to add in a little bit additional for the flour mills, which is just here. Now, it's not an industrial area right now, so I'm going to extend this a little bit. Now, to be honest with you, there's nothing stopping me. Right, there's nothing stopping me adding in more farming kind of zone, well, buildings on this side. Because I've spread it all out. You know, it's going to do what it's going to do. There's nothing stopping me doing that. But I don't want to spread it out too much because the vehicle traffic will be a little bit over the top. Right. Is this train going to come in? No. I was hoping to see my first train there, but it's okay. It's okay. Right, okay, this building then. Now, the other buildings there, we've kind of kept them away from the main road. And that's something that I want to try and continue with. So I'll drop 2 of the flour mills just there. We'll go down here. And I'll place 1 there. I'm actually going to move that one in just a moment. I'll place 1, 2 just there. And I'll tell you why in just a moment why I'm kind of spreading it out like this. I'm going to get 1 more. Oh, I might do 2 more. I might do 1 there and then 1 there. I'm going to place down some kind of grain silos. Let's do some large barns, actually. So if I do 1 there, 1 over here, 1 there. We'll do 1 just here. 1 just there. So I give them quickly enough water right now. So I've only got to do it where these buildings currently are. Oh, I've messed that up there, haven't I? And I've got to obviously give them a little bit of power too. So I'm hoping I can spit it out. So what I've basically done is I've placed these around the yellow zone, yellow kind of areas here, which that is fertile land. Which what I can do with that is place down some additional farming areas. So I could drop like 3 there. And this will now start producing what I need it to produce to create more croppage, thus allowing me, I might as well do this one on the main road, to have more crops going on. So you see how it kind of works then? It looks like it's a natural extension of what we've currently got going down. Now obviously we are going to... Oh, do these need water as well? I didn't realise that. Obviously, we need to spread the power. So some of this power should have been spread from the actual wind turbine. I'm going to bring that just over to there. Get them as connected as I can get them. And then we'll extend the power supply to the greater area. Unless I can get this whole area to run on its own power. But it would mean a lot of wind turbines. Currently bringing that from the main normal grid, so it's something that I need to kind of do in reality. So if I actually kind of get rid of that, so I want to run the tree line with the road. So if I kind of have this slightly off from the road, I can still then get like a natural tree line running with us, can't I? Bring that to there. And is that enough to now be in the actual grid for the power? Yes. So we're all good. We're all good. So we are going to see a lot of vehicles around here. At the moment, we're going to see a lot of vehicles because they're going to be filling up all these little barns and stuff like that. So you're going to see a abnormal amount of traffic to what we would normally see. Now, what's going to be interesting is, do you reckon vehicles from over here will hop on the highway to turn off there to go there? Because it'd be quicker than driving through this? Probably. I don't know. I don't know. But the only issue I can now see is this little strip here. I don't know how I feel about this little section. So, yeah. What I can do is make that the designated turn here. That goes there and there. That should designate a turn here. That goes straight on. That goes straight on. No ifs, no buts, no donuts. They just do what they need to do on this little junction. So like I said, there's going to be an abnormal amount of traffic to what we would normally see. So all I want to do right now then is sort out some of the painting work. So the oil right now, it happens to be the... Is the oil this one? Yes. So we now need to kind of trim off and add in the little patches where it needs to go. If it overspills anywhere else, you kind of need to get rid of it. The fertile land, we'll go a bit crazy with that. Be a bit more bulky. And it's just little like split areas where I need to kind of change. The ore needs to be pushed down to here. I think the majority of it is okay because the way I kind of designed it. But if I just kind of get rid of the clip in the edges here, so that field stays as it is, that works. That works. And then this tree brush, if I just run it down, will be what I need it to do to give me the tree line on the roads, especially with the power lines now. You can see on the power lines I've added it in. That looks pretty good. So run this down some of these areas. I might go for a bit stronger. Go definitely a bit stronger there. There we go. So certain areas are going to be a bit more bulky than others. But that's our tree line for the foresty area. Well, not the foresty, the farming section. The hedgerows, as they kind of call it. So that kind of complements the area pretty well. It really does. And the traffic is now reduced in this area as it's now dropped off all the goods to the barns and whatnot. They're almost kind of like semi-full. Imports and exports will go on here as you would normally see it. So we should now have some buyers for the product. How many buyers in question? I don't know. We got a lot of animal products. So that's where we need to kind of start adding in the unique factories to use those animal products. But anyway, forget that for a second. So our farming industry making a nice chunk of change. It's pretty good to see, right? Pretty good. So I gotta wait for that. That import will eventually go because right now, when they take all the goods to the barns to store it, they don't use it. They then start importing. It's a really weird system how the game kind of works. Like, you place down a barn, they all go and fill it up, so all the vehicles drive there. So all the buildings that needed those vehicles now think that those goods don't exist, so they import them instead, and then you go back to your own production. It's a weird system. I don't know why they just can't wait and be a little bit more patient. But who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? So these guys are wanting more crops right now and again. They'll eventually start getting them as it all kind of levels out. Now, that's not been as bad as an issue as I thought it was going to be, that little junction there. Same with that. I think those little tweaks of the lane managements was enough just to kind of get them in their order to have, you know, a few vehicles pass through the junction than you would normally have. So that works out pretty well. Without having to do anything really elaborate, we just end the city on farms. It's actually really, really nice to see, isn't it? I actually really do like that. I didn't too. Come on, boys. You gotta admit I do good stuff when I do good stuff, right? Anyway, how is this area going along? Remember, we did this wall to wall, and it does look pretty wall to wall. I think the only thing that's not going for us right now, this area, oh, let's say has gaps, but yeah, I feel like you need to do a smaller zoned section to kind of really feel the benefits of all of this. I can squeeze in some trees though in the middle gaps. I can really up my strength on this. Really up the strength, boys. Really up the strength. Fills it in. You don't really notice it as that much then, do you? You don't really notice it. So, with that all said, we have now provided more jobs, because that was an issue we had before. This residential wasn't growing, because we didn't satisfy enough of the demands. Now we've added in more jobs. We've employed more people. So, it's pointing in the right direction. It is slowly pointing in the right direction. So as I slowly choke on my own words, we then got to think of ways in which we can bring passengers over here. Now, currently, I don't think it would make sense in me doing a big loop just yet. Because there's a few more spots. Because what I could do, because at the minute, if I zoom out, we got a loop going this way, and we got a loop going that way. If I had a loop coming this way, coming down here, down there, it will then pass here to complement that additional stop on the opposite side of the canal, which we're not utilising. Could then tear through down here, and then it kind of goes between this loop and this loop as it meets in the middle, and then complements it as it goes the opposite direction. Up there and then this way. But I need a bit more substance around here. I know here we can have 1, 2, 3, 4 farm stops. This one over here, a bunch in the middle, but I'm not quite sure how I would work out this one. I feel like I might need to bring this down and run it this way to kind of like complement it. I don't know. I mean, the current stop that we have over here is just this one initial one here. I could add on the opposite side and then bring the road connected all the way down. Do a nice little walkway over. See, that stuff could happen. That stuff could happen. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. But I feel like next episode, we're going to go back to building a few more canal systems. Because this is CanalTown after all, boys. This is CanalTown. You wouldn't believe 42,000 people live here. You wouldn't believe it. But I know it's only a short episode today, guys, but we got something very, very important all set up, and it's now making us a big chunk of cash in terms of that sweet, sweet profit. So, we'll end it here, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, smash that like button down below. But just look at how beautiful CanalTown is looking right now. Until next time, I'll see you all soon. So good.